And welcome back to Real Talk Sports with Rico. Today we are looking at Week 14 of the NFL season, looking at some of these bigger takeaways. And so let's start with the Lions versus the Packers. This game was on Thursday night, a very good football game. The Lions end up winning it 34-31. Key takeaway is that both teams are very good, but I think the Lions continue off of the momentum that they had last season, just showing you that they are a complete football team. And so they're going to be very tough to beat. And make no mistake about it, the Packers are a good team too. So next up, the Jaguars and the Titans. A tough game for the Titans. The Jaguars win this game despite Mac Jones throwing 2 INTs. And then there's no Trevor Lawrence. I believe he is out for the rest of the season, or they've shut him down after he sustained that concussion. He went on the IR. Next up, the Jets and the Dolphins. And so the Jets lose another game. This has been a tough year for them. If you would have told me that they would have Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers and they would be this bad of a team, I would not believe it. But yes, they struggle. They get beat 32-26. Two in the Dolphins still in the hunt. Next up, the Falcons and the Vikings. And so the Falcons have really slipped over the last couple weeks. And I know that they're still really very much in this division, but they have not looked very good. Kirk Cousins has really struggled. And the Vikings, man, they look great. Sam Darnold throws for 5 touchdowns out there. And so the Vikings continue to keep rolling, now 11-2. And so next up, the Saints and the Giants. Saints end up pulling this one out 14-11, get a blocked field goal. That's the difference there. But they do lose their quarterback. Derek Carr does go down with a concussion, and he also has a broken hand now. So that is going to be very interesting for the Saints moving forward. Next up, the Panthers and the Eagles. And so the Eagles get the win 22-16, and Saquon Barkley once again does his thing, 20 carries, 124 yards. But the Eagles really have struggled in the passing game. That was the thing that was the biggest storyline out of this game, is just the struggles that they had in the passing game. You see that A.J. Brown and these guys are frustrated. And so hopefully the Eagles can get it together there. I think that they're going to have to become a better passing team if they're going to take that next step. I think that the last time that they had gotten to the Super Bowl, that was a key for them, not only running the football, but they were able to generate yards down the field. And so it just really hasn't happened this year. Perhaps they'll get it together, but a tough week, but they do get the win. Next up, the Steelers and the Browns. So the Steelers take care of business. I think the key to this one is just the turnovers that you had from the Browns. Jameis Winston with the turnovers. I think he had 2 on the day. And the Steelers continue to keep rolling. Look, 10-3. They're doing a terrific job. And I think that Russell Wilson has done a great job being the starter now for them. Next up, you have the Buccaneers and the Raiders. And so this was a game that the Buccaneers certainly needed. Just talked about the Falcons still in this division. The Buccaneers now move to 7-6. And so with that being said, look, Baker Mayfield is essentially going to have to carry this team. He did throw for 3 touchdowns in this one. You had Rashid White. He played very well. Bucky Irvin, I think, is a little banged up going into this one. And so you see that Rashid White had a very good game. And so a good one for the Buccaneers. They continue to stay at the top of that division. Next up, you have the Seahawks and the Cardinals. And so with the Seahawks, I think the biggest takeaway is that Geno Smith is playing extremely well. I think that Geno Smith has really rebounded from last season. He's unlocked the passing game yet again. And this team, man, they are going to be tough out there, especially as they continue to get better defensively. And Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, they're still in it, but just some timely turnovers there for that team. They've got to clean that up. Next up, the Bills and the Rams. This was probably the game of Sunday, I would say. This was the best game out of all the NFL games. This was a game where back and forth, Josh Allen, like, touchdowns, running the football, passing the football. He did everything. And so once again, the Bills, even though they lose, super impressive with what Josh Allen has done, because the whole wide receiving core is essentially turned over, and Josh Allen is finding ways to make it happen out there. And I mean, defensively, I think that the Bills are getting a little bit better. So even though they lose this game, a great game for them. And I think that they're going to be something to be reckoned with over there in the AFC. For the Rams, I knew that they would be a little bit more all in since they did not trade any of their wide receivers, they didn't trade Matthew Stafford or anything like that, didn't make any major trades at the trade deadline when there was a lot of kind of noise around them. They went all in. They've gotten healthy. And this is going to be a team that is going to be very tough, very scary with that offense. The way that Matthew Stafford has got those two wide receivers like the Rams, they can really get back in the hunt here. They're 7-6, and they actually are in the hunt when you look at the playoff picture. Next up, the 49ers and the Bears. And so the 49ers all over the Bears. The 49ers really needed this game. They got back to their basic principles as far as running the football. I think that they did a terrific job there. You see that George Kittle had a very good day. Brock Purdy, a decent day as well. And so I guess he's kind of over the shoulder injury. At least he's going to play through that. And so they're still in the hunt as well at 6-7. They have a big game against the Rams this upcoming week. That is going to be huge for that division. Next up, the Chargers and the Chiefs. And the Chiefs just do it again. I mean, they get to a point where they get down to the opportunity to get the field goal. It doinks in. They win the division off of that. And so, once again, the Chiefs just find ways to win. This is why you like them in getting back to the Super Bowl, because if you're able to win games like this, you know that this offense is capable of putting up some points. But the fact that they've been winning tight games, and this is dating back to last season, it favors the Chiefs. And so they're only getting healthier. They've gotten Isaiah Pacheco back. And so this is a team that I think could be dangerous down the stretch, believe it or not, even though they're 12-1. So next up, with the Bengals and the Cowboys, Jamar Chase just had quite a day. 14 receptions, 177 yards, and 2 touchdowns in this one. Going to be awfully tough for the Bengals down the stretch, because I think that this team is just very different from that team that made it to the Super Bowl. And I think that, they could be looking to maybe make some more changes depending on what's going to happen to T. Higgins and things like that. You still got a contract coming up with Jamar Chase. But in terms of this game, they take care of business against the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys desperately needed this game to stay in the hunt. A tough blocked punt. Yeah, it's a muffed block punt. So they got a block punt against the Bengals, had a chance to go ahead and down the football, but it turned out to be a turnover. And then the Bengals go in and actually score with Jamar Chase. So a tough one for the Cowboys, good one for the Bengals as they stay alive. And so with that being said, we'll be back talking a little bit more about the NBA. Actually, we'll be talking a little bit more with the NBA, some updates around the league as it is cup play. There's been some more injuries around the NBA, some big injuries that just really have impacted some of these teams out there. And it could be interesting now that we have the trade rumors, speculations going around, and then also too, like the trade season is getting ready to heat up because there could be some activity before the trade deadline. So we'll be talking about that a little bit more. This is Rico. This is Real Talk Sports. We'll be back with another one. I'll see you. Peace.